we're kicking off with WWE, who will host its first Bad Blood PLE in 20 years next month, and on last week's SmackDown, a huge tag match pitting Roman Reigns and Cody Rhodes against the Bloodline was announced. That means Rhodes won't be defending his gold at the show, but fans can still expect a world title match, as Raw's World Heavyweight Champion Gunther will be in action. In the Wrestling Observer Daily Update, Brian Alvarez reports that Gunther will defend against Sami Zayn at the event, which, when confirmed, will be the 6th match set for the show. Some fans doubted this match would be at Bad Blood, given WWE's confirmation of 5 other matches, and under Triple H, 5 has become the standard for WWE's secondary PLEs. Only shows like SummerSlam and WrestleMania have surpassed that number in 2024, and it was at WrestleMania that Zayn defeated Gunther, ending his historic 666-day Intercontinental title reign. If history is any indicator, Gunther vs. Zayn will be an excellent match, but fans eager to see Sami finally win a world championship on WWE's main roster should prepare to be disappointed. According to PW Insider, the reported plan is for Gunther to squash the man who defeated him at WrestleMania, as WWE wants to maintain the Austrian's dominance following his Berlin win over Randy Orton. Gunther will retain at Bad Blood, and is this too predictable for you? Should Triple H have gone from someone else on the roster, and if so, who? Let us know down in the comments. In WWE, few families have dominated in the way that the Bloodline has, and this year has seen Solo Sikoa bring in some serious names to assert his dominance on SmackDown. In July of this year, it was reported that Hikuleo, real name Tatuaiki Tala Kaloa Matangi, has signed with WWE, leaving fans excited to see how he'll fit into plans. Before entering the ring, Hikuleo majored in sports management and played basketball for the Weber International Warriors. Team 3D's Bully Ray and Devon trained the Tongan-born American star at the Team 3D Academy. He traveled to Japan in 2016 and soon got his break. In NJPW under the ring name Hikuleo, he went on to secure the Strong Openweight Championship, the Strong Openweight Tag Team Championship twice, and also won the IWGP Tag Team Championship. He was also a part of the Bullet Club, which is possibly the most famous non-WWE faction. Now part of WWE, many expect Hikuleo to join the Bloodline, despite not being related to Roman Reigns or Solo Sikoa, or even being a part of the Anoa'i family. Instead, Hikuleo and Tama Tonga are brothers, and were adopted by the legendary tough man of wrestling, Haku, whose biological son is Tonga Loa. Despite not being blood relatives, the Tongan family and the Anoa'i family have the utmost respect for one another and are bonded like a huge family. Lance Anoa'i, the cousin of Roman Reigns, previously explained how the connection was formed between the families, as he said, "Not by blood. We consider him, every time I see Haku, he's my uncle. A lot of respect for, I believe it's just more like the island culture. We're all from the South Pacific, so the islanders just stick together, man. It's just one breed." With his brothers part of Solo Sikoa's bloodline, it's expected that Hikuleo will join the ranks soon enough, and reportedly with the new WWE name given to him of Tala Tonga. But what plans do WWE have for Hikuleo aside from his new name? Well, it's been reported by PW Torch that his arrival could come at this November's Survivor Series in Canada. According to reports, the plan is for Solo Sikoa's bloodline to take on a faction led by Roman Reigns, which many predict will feature the bloodline alum like the Usos and Sami Zayn. One plan being floated around is for Hikuleo to interfere in this match and cost Reigns' team the win, making clear his allegiance to Solo Sikoa and his bloodline. WWE fears that the new bloodline losing its Survivor Series would kill off any momentum the group has, so bringing in the Tongan Giant will cement their place as a dominant force. From there, Hikuleo would officially be welcomed as the newest member of Sikoa's faction, giving Reigns and those on SmackDown another adversary, adding a layer to the story. We should stress that this is just one idea being floated around, and as we reported last week, another idea is for Reigns' team to win and for Sikoa to take the fall for his team. That loss, without any involvement from Hikuleo, would result in Sikoa being removed as tribal chief from the bloodline, and Jacob Fatu, a man WWE is firmly behind, taking that spot. Nothing has been finalized as of yet, and plans could still change, but which of these ideas do you prefer? Or should WWE go in a completely different direction? Sound off in the comments. Now on last week's SmackDown, Nia Jax made an interesting match for this Friday, one that in theory could have serious ramifications for Bayley or Naomi. In the upcoming match, if Bayley and Naomi beat Jax or Tiffany Stratton, then they'll earn a title match at Bad Blood, but the title match will only be for who gets the decisive fall. On the other hand, if Jax and Stratton win, whoever takes the decisive fall will be banished from SmackDown permanently, and now we have a spoiler on those plans. Despite this situation, WWE has confirmed Bayley for future SmackDown shows, including next week's episode of the Blue Brand from the Paycom Center in Oklahoma City. WWE seems to have accidentally spoiled plans for Bayley's future on the Blue Brand, as either she and Naomi will win the upcoming tag team match, or it'll be the Glow who takes the loss. We'll have to wait and see if this means Bayley will pick up the win for her team and get a title shot against Nia Jax at Bad Blood, which if so, would be a rematch of their SummerSlam match. What's your view on this story concerning Bayley's future? Do you believe she'll end up challenging Nia Jax at WWE Bad Blood next month? Share your thoughts in the comments. Not too long ago, AEW's locker room once again made headlines due to a heated confrontation between Britt Baker and MJF, which resulted in Baker briefly being suspended. The conflict began when Baker made remarks about MJF and his girlfriend Alicia Atout during the July 17th Dynamite, and these comments made their way to MJF, who confronted Baker. Tensions boiled over to the point that Will Ospreay had to step in to mediate the situation by speaking with Baker, while MJF was so upset he punched a wall backstage in frustration. Despite this backstage drama, Baker continued to appear on TV, and it was only after an HR investigation that Baker was suspended, while MJF was not. The investigation also looked into claims that Baker demanded Atout's removal from the women's locker room, but Britt would reappear via video on the August 7th Dynamite. During an appearance on the Keepin' It 100 podcast, Conan explained that Britt Baker has a history of causing backstage issues, including incidents fans haven't learned of until now. For example, Conan claimed that Baker had a heated confrontation with Mercedes Moné after their AEW All-In match, as some spots in the match weren't executed as they'd hoped. Baker blamed Moné, but thankfully, referees and backstage personnel intervened, preventing AEW All-In having a physical backstage altercation for the second year in a row. Conan pointed out that Baker's ego has been a recurring issue and called her out for this, and said that while MJF tried to downplay his situation, Baker has a bad reputation backstage. As we mentioned in a video last week, there have been criticisms at Tony Khan for not being an authoritative boss, which many believe has led to these repeated backstage dramas. Khan has had plenty to say about how WWE does business, but there's no shortage of people who think Khan's attempts to be friendly and one of the boys is ultimately hurting AEW. Conan also revealed a surprising detail from his source as he alleged that Britt Baker and Adam Cole are no longer together. He said, "I'm gonna tell you something a source sent me. Also, I didn't even know this was thrown in here. She's no longer with Cole. They're definitely broken up. This is what the person put at the end. He's better off. She's unhinged." Baker hasn't appeared on AEW TV since her All-In match with Mercedes Moné, and while neither she nor Cole have commented on the rumored split, fans are sad at this potential breakup. Fans got to see how close the pair were during the AEW All Access show, which focused heavily on the pair and Cole's injury that would cost close to a year of his career. Time will tell if either Cole or Baker address the situation publicly, but once again, what's happening in AEW off-camera is making headlines for all the wrong reasons. What are your thoughts on the rumored breakup between Adam Cole and Britt Baker? Share your thoughts in the comments below. At CMLL's 91st anniversary event, Chris Jericho faced Mystico in Jericho's first CMLL match in nearly 30 years, but AEW's coverage of this match has come under scrutiny. During AEW Collision, Tony Schiavone spoke of the match and said that Jericho made Mystico tap to the walls of Jericho, and the AEW broadcaster was playing fast and loose with the truth. While Mystico did tap to Jericho's finisher, what Schiavone didn't mention is that this was a 2 out of 3 falls match, one that Mystico, not Jericho, would go on to win. Mystico tapping was just one of the 3 falls, but by not mentioning the actual result of the match, AEW evidently wanted fans to think their former world champion won the bout. Several fans have called out AEW for its dishonesty, and we imagine fans will be more likely to check the results of non-AEW matches mentioned on AEW TV for themselves after this. As we reported yesterday, the Wyatt 6 logo appeared behind Nick Aldis on last week's SmackDown, leading to speculation that he could be the group's next target. If not Aldis specifically, then this could be a sign that the group will be appearing on SmackDown soon enough, and now another star may be in the group's crosshairs. Ahead of tonight's Raw, the faction took to Twitter to share a message, "Whispers like 1,000 voices," which some believe was a nod to Randy Orton and his theme song. Orton famously defeated Bray Wyatt at WrestleMania 37 in Wyatt's penultimate televised match, and between this tweet and the SmackDown tease, Randy could be in trouble. Are you excited at the idea of the Wyatt Six feuding with Randy Orton? Who from the group should step in the ring with the Viper? Let us know in the comments. On SmackDown, Kevin Owens teamed with Randy Orton, with the latter appearing in the nick of time for their tag team match with A-Town Down Under. Indie star Ricky Gibson, who Owens had as a backup before Orton showed up, received a stunner from the prizefighter, but that wasn't the end of his time on WWE's programming. In backstage footage, a still sore Ricky was backstage with Orton and Owens, and the former Universal Champion apologized for what went down in the ring. Hilariously, Owens added that he asked RVD to be his partner, as he was at SmackDown's premiere on the USA Network, but said that the High Flyer was already on another planet. Ricky's time at SmackDown may not have gone as he'd hoped, but at least Owens apologized for the stunner, which is far more than most of the people he's betrayed have ever gotten. At the TNA Impact tapings in San Antonio, Texas, Rosemary and NXT's Wendy Chu were set for a tag team match with Jordynne Grace, who brought in an NXT talent of her own. Grace teamed with Sol Ruca in the match in what was Ruca's TNA debut, and this match came after Grace defended her Knockouts World title against Chu at Victory Road last Friday. Ruca wasn't the only NXT star at the taping, as Kendall Gray and Carly Bright also made their presence felt, and Ariana Grace continues to serve as the liaison between NXT and TNA. What do you think of Sol Ruca making her debut in TNA? Do you feel WWE and TNA's partnership has been a successful one? Share your thoughts in the comments section below. Earlier this year, Xia Li was among those released from WWE, and at the time, it was reported that many in WWE felt she hadn't been given the chance to succeed on the main roster. Now Li has made her debut for TNA Wrestling, as during the tapings in San Antonio, she would defeat Hyen in singles competition, and is now going by Lei Ying Li. During night one of this year's draft back in April, Kiana James was called up to Raw from NXT and made her main roster debut on the June 3rd episode, where she defeated Natalya. James also appeared in a few backstage segments with Adam Pearce, but soon after, she disappeared from television, and it's since been reported that she's dealing with an injury. James has been removed from the Raw roster due to this leg injury, in a huge blow to the young star, and now we know exactly what WWE had planned for her on the Red brand. According to the Wrestling Observer newsletter, there were plans for an on-screen romance between James and Adam Pearce, though it's not known how the pair would woo each other. However, this angle has been dropped, and possibly not because of James's injury, but rather because of the sensitivity of having this sort of angle on WWE TV in 2024. Given the Vince McMahon scandal, having a storyline of an authority figure entering a romance with a talent would not have been wise, and it's reported the angle has been scrapped. Kiana James has said she wants a singles title, and while she got an NXT Women's Tag Team title run alongside Fallon Henley, that reign did not last long. Now James will have to wait until her leg injury heals before she can set her sights on title gold again, and when she's back, she'll be focused on winning gold, not the heart of the Raw GM. At ROH Final Battle 2022, Athena captured the Ring of Honor Women's World Championship, and since then, the Fallen Goddess has dominated the ROH Women's division. This week, Athena's historic reign reached a new milestone, as at 646 days, she's now the longest reigning champion of any title in the history of Ring of Honor. The record had been held for 20 years by Samoa Joe, who held the ROH World Championship for 645 days between March 2003 and December 2004. Athena has held the ROH Women's World title longer than all other previous women's champions combined, and the question now is who will take the gold from the history maker? During a recent interview with Chris Van Vliet of Insight, Damian Priest said that he landed a role in a Marvel movie but was ultimately pulled from the project shortly after. Priest didn't share too many details, but said that him being pulled wasn't a decision that came from Marvel, clearly implying WWE didn't want him in the film. Before this, it had been reported that Priest had auditioned for the role of Namor, the antagonist of Black Panther Wakanda Forever, but why would WWE pull Priest from the film? On the Wrestling Outlaws, EC3 pointed the finger of blame squarely at Vince McMahon, saying the WWE would have allowed for one of their top stars to appear in the MCU. McMahon, on the other hand, would be too obsessed with holding on to his toys, according to EC3, and wouldn't want Priest to get even a taste of a life outside of WWE. Ultimately, Damian Priest in the MCU wasn't meant to be, but Seth Rollins is set to be in next year's Captain America, as long as his scenes aren't removed from the final cut. But what do you make of all this? Should McMahon have allowed Priest to appear for Marvel, or would it have been too big a risk for the ex-WWE CEO? Let us know down in the comments. Now, TBS champion Mercedes Mone expressed mixed feelings about AEW's use of extreme matches. While she acknowledges that AEW caters to fans who enjoy hardcore wrestling, she worries that such content might turn away younger viewers, particularly children. While speaking on Busted Open Radio, Thunder Rosa defended AEW's usage of violent matches as she addressed Mone's remarks. Rosa noted that her own career was significantly shaped by participating in various hardcore matches, including a lights out match, cage match, street fights, and a Texas bull rope match. Rosa explained that professional wrestling often involves pushing boundaries, and while not everyone enjoys extreme matches, it's a part of AEW's approach to the sport. One of the reasons why I cemented my career was with a hardcore match, a lights out match. Then I did the cage match, which was brutal. I've done street fights, and then I did the Texas bull rope match where I was a bloody mess. There's levels of violence or brutality in professional wrestling, and some of it, they push the envelope every time they're doing things. I feel mean. People have the right to feel the way that they feel, especially when it comes to these kinds of matches. And it's not everybody's cup of tea. And you can't criticize fans for feeling that way, but you know that in AEW, we push the envelope. We have pushed the envelope a lot. A petition was also launched that urged AEW to end their programming after Swerve Strickland and Adam Page's all-out match. Nonetheless, we will have to wait and see if AEW will continue to push the envelope when it comes to violence in the upcoming months. What's your opinion on what Thunder Rosa had to say in response to Mercedes Mone's remarks? Do you believe AEW's level of violence is too much? Let us know in the comments section below. More from Rosa, as after a 16-month hiatus due to a back injury, Thunder Rosa made a return to in-ring action in December 2023. Unfortunately, she has recently revealed a new setback, a concussion. Rosa revealed on Busted Open Radio that she'll be sidelined for a couple of weeks as she recovers from this latest injury. The details of how or when she sustained the concussion have not been disclosed. With Concussion Awareness Day approaching, Rosa has recommended following Chris Nowinski, the founder of the Concussion Legacy Foundation and a former WWE star, for valuable information and research on concussions. What's your view on this revelation brought forth by Thunder Rosa? Do you feel concussions are becoming too common lately? Let us know in the comments section below. More from AEW now, and to kick off Hispanic Heritage Month, the company AEW presented a special Lucha Libre match ahead of the Jacksonville Jaguars home opener for the NFL season. The match took place at Flex Field, the indoor practice facility that's part of Everbank Stadium and Daly's Place complex, and saw Hologram and Sammy Guevara get the win. The pair beat the Beast Mortos and Matt Taven, and Tony Khan also addressed the crowd before the match, hyping up the Jaguars and AEW's commitment to Hispanic Heritage Month. AEW's Wardlow and AEW Women's World Champion Mariah May were also spotted at Everbank Stadium, showing their support for the Jaguars and the special event. While the Jaguars would lose their game, this match was a fun way for AEW to connect with fans during a significant celebration, while also building up storylines within the promotion. And we're ending with some UFC news, as the promotion's 306 event took place in the Sphere in Las Vegas, and the show saw WWE's own Rey and Dominik Mysterio in attendance. In order to maintain kayfabe, the two did not sit together, as the two have been at odds for 2 years now and have competed several times on WWE programming. Rey didn't make amends with his son at UFC 306, but did have a special gift for UFC President Dana White, who is a leading name in TKO Group Holdings. On Instagram, TKO's account shared that Rey gifted White a custom Noche UFC match after the exciting evening of fights, and White was thrilled to receive the gift.